Hey, this is Pat, and today we are checking out the all-new Dainese Fiero Metal Gloves. Now, the Fiero Metal Gloves are going to be a sport to get you to the track set of race gloves, replacing, in my opinion, the Steel Pros within Dainese's line. They had a great option. They actually had short and long cuffs. I like that they're just going with the gauntlet styles because that opens up a lot more accessibility for shorter cuff options in Dainese's lineup. But the Fiero Metal Gloves are going to be a step down from the Full Metal 7 gloves within Dainese's line. If you're not familiar with the Full Metal 7s, that's what all of their pro MotoGP racers are actually wearing. Designed by Rossi, worked with him directly, and a lot of their other pro riders out there. That'll be the Full Metal 7s. Those come in around the $520 price point, and the Fiero Metal Gloves are coming in at the $390 price point, which is very steep for a gauntlet style glove. When you start getting into the track realm, though, that's kind of right in the ballpark of some upper level gloves out there, and I think Dainese is right in the right area. A couple things I would have loved to seen fixed for this price point, which I'll get to throughout the course of this video. But all in, you're looking at a goat leather main construction with a little bit of mesh. You're getting some aluminum as well as TPU at the knuckle, so you're getting a lot of these features that we see on the top of the line MotoGP gloves coming in at a more affordable $390 price point when compared to the Full Metal 7s at $520. It's still a steep price point, but when you compare it within their line, it makes a little bit more sense. But before I get too long-winded on that, let's hit some of the quick features. Comes in sizes ranging from extra small up to 3 extra large. Comes in 4 colorways, although we usually see that change every season. It's an easy win for Dainese. They just come out with different colors and match a lot of their suits out there. And when it comes to sizing, I measure my palm circumference on my dominant hand about 8.75 inches in the circumference. I almost wear a size large in every single glove out there on the market. Size large fits me spot on. It's actually a very comfortable glove right out of the box, something that you can see me easily moving around in. And one thing I like is they've actually had a little carve away at the side, which Dainese has been doing for years. We saw it with the Full Metal, I want to say 5 a few years back, but there's this little carve away because in the sport riding position, you actually want your wrist to be able to bend to that riding position. So there's less material right here just to give a little bit more flex, but that just makes them overall more comfortable throughout the entire rest of the glove just because it allows a little bit more freedom of movement when you need it in that riding position. But right out of the box, really broken in, really comfortable. The goat leather is just very comfortable right out of the box. And I think one complaint I had with Dainese over the years, just when you're just looking at the overall profile, a lot of their leather, the colors weren't matching. A lot of the leather looked a little bit wrinkled, looked like someone who had been smoking for quite a few decades. When it came to the leather, I think they've updated a lot of that quality. A lot of the quality in the leather just feels like Dainese of old. The colors match. It matches a lot of the suits directly if you are going for a color specific theme. But I like that they're doing it. I like that they've upgraded it across the board because for a little while there, they were lacking. It is a full gauntlet style glove. When I say that, you do get 2 cuff entries up at the top, very wide top cuff up here, top gauntlet, so you can tuck in your suit. On the inside, no hindrance on that when I tested it out there. And then you have a smaller Velcro retention strap at the base that's doing most of the holding, keeping your hand physically inside the gloves in the event of an accident. And it's gonna be a lot of goat leather all the way around. They do this massive seam on the inside to get a lot of seams away from other areas, like the outside that I just talked about. So they put a lot of that stress on the inside of the glove where you're not gonna notice it. A little bit of foam underneath of it, and this gauntlet strap is foam reinforced across the entire thing just to hold its shape. It does also help protect the ulna on the outer side of the wrist in the event of an accident. You get a little bit of foam protection there. One thing I want to call out, and you kind of see with this hexagon pattern running around, that is going to be almost a mesh material that allows a little bit of airflow through to the gloves with a sublimated graphic over top. So you do get some airflow. Again, riding at the track is a very hot sport. I've never been there, even in the winter, where it's not something that you're sweating after each lap out there. So I like that they're adding that in there just to get a little bit more airflow through to your body. If you do have holes inside of your suit or ventilation points, that'll help flow air right through to you. One thing I also want to call out, running down the entire back of the hand, I can't show you it, but it is a polyaramid, material running down the entire back for added abrasion resistance. And I can actually give you a little sneak peek. If you just see the white peeking out on the sides of the fingers, you'll actually see that's the material running down the outside as they did the exposed seams. It's still visible on the outside. So you have that running down the entire back of the wrist, the back of the knuckle, as well as the back of the fingers and thumb, just for an added layer of abrasion resistance. Should you go down, you might end up on the back of your hand. It's going to be something that's nice and protected running down the back. Now I say that, One thing to keep in mind, and I can really show you on the inside of the glove over here, I like that they show the aramid off, that polyaramid. I like that they show that white liner. You can see the foam that's underneath of the leather, providing a little bit more of comfort all day riding. For a $390 glove, I believe Dainese should do better than that, than showing the foam underneath of there. Just my personal opinion when we're looking at the materials and the quality control. I love that they've updated the leather. I love that they've started color matching a lot of it and it all looks really good. I just want them to cover those exposed seams. I don't think that's something that really helps any rider, especially again at that just sub $400 price point. I expect more from the quality out of Dainese. Moving down the back of the hand though, let's hit some of the features for protection. You get a little bit of accordion stretch in the leather, just how it was designed, but behind it, reminiscent of the full metals, which actually use aluminum all the way down the back, you have a TPU running down the backside with a little bit of a pivot point in there. It doesn't bend much, but it does provide back of the hand protection in the form of a hard protection with foam underneath of it, but that is TPU with a faux carbon weave over top of it, and then you get the aluminum inserts on the ProTech knuckle, which offer a little bit of flexibility side to side, but it's really using that aluminum sliders on there like you would expect from something that is capable of going out and being in any track day society out there, a track day organization. You can go out racing in these, so I love that they're using that aluminum running down the back of the knuckle. Moving down the fingers, you get a little bit of TPU reinforcements at the back of the fingers knuckles, as well as some foam at the upper sides, just to provide a little bit more impact protection. And I mentioned it before, you can actually see that it is exposed seams on the top. It's one of the things I like seeing on gloves, preferably on the palm side, but I just want the quality to come through from Dainese a little bit more. DCP knuckle on the outside of the pinky, just to provide a little bit more protection for it. You can see it's a hard TPU plastic at the base, just to reinforce the littlest finger out there and make sure it doesn't get snapped off in the event of an accident. You also get a little bit TPU down the front with an added layer of leather on the outside, just provide a little bit more slide protection when you're going down in the event of an accident. We've seen Dainese do that for years and we actually really love it. It's a cross between like a third and fourth finger bridge that we've seen from brands like Alpine Stars and other brands out there. This was Dainese's take at just reinforcing that and helping the pinky just stay more protected in the event of a slide. You can see solid outer seam coverage as well. You're looking at a full layer of leather, extra leather over top of that outer seam, just to make sure that nothing is exposed in the event of a slide, as well as a TPU slider and that DCP that I just talked about a second ago. Perforated leather in the fourchettes of the fingers itself, so you get a little bit more breathability on the hotter days. You'll get a little bit more airflow coming through to the palm to help cool it off. Speaking of palm, if I flip over here, it is still a goat leather palm, just like the rest of the glove being goat leather. You do get a TPR, what we jokingly refer to as the Rossi tickler, just because Rossi was the first one to design that style, but it is a TPR grip pad to really make sure that you're not gonna lose control of the bike. That's gonna stay on the controls, and they actually have an extra piece of leather reinforced at the crook of the thumb and finger, just to really make sure that that doesn't wear through. Again, that's a heavy wear zone, so you want to make sure that you have that reinforcement there, just to give it a little bit more longevity over the course of the life of the glove. I mentioned it before, TPU slider at the palm just helps reinforce it in the event of a slide. I like that they've slid it over to the side because you don't really notice it that much when you're grabbing the controls, but it also helps protect that outer seam, which is really prone to the slide. Extra piece of leather just protecting that lower retention strap, as well as some foam underneath of the leather at the base of the thumb. Again, just a little bit more protection in the event of a crash. So all in, I think these Fiero Metal Gloves are a solid option replacing the Steel Pros within Dainese's line. Much more affordable than the Full Metal 7 gloves out there. If you're not looking for something that's straight off the MotoGP grid, I think these are a solid take. Dainese, if you're listening, love what you're doing with the leather. Love that you're adding mesh into it. Would just like to see a little bit more quality control and seeing the foam coming through on the seams running down the outer side of the fingers. But all in, I dig it. I think it's something that's really comfortable right out of the box, something that you can easily take out of the box and go straight to your track day or straight into the twisties and the canyons without any issues out there. But if you have any other questions, click that info button. That's going to take you over to the product page where you can read other rider reviews and see what other riders are saying about the new Fiero metals. Don't just take my word for it. But if you still have questions after that, if you're confused on sizing, figuring out which one is right for you within Dainese's line, give our customer service agents a call. They're all riders, happy to help you get set up for your next ride. I want to thank you for joining me and checking out the all-new Dainese Fiero Metal Gloves. I'm Pat. I'll see you in the next video.